Hey, we got a good one for you today. You're going to want to hit that subscribe button and stick around to the end.
You sit down, that's all you got. Yeah, both ran Thunderstocks. It keeps me out of trouble. Young stallion days right there.
Yeah, I've rolled that one once or twice. That's some pretty cool stuff.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to Johnson Family Outdoors. Listen, we had an opportunity to visit a race shop, O'Leary Brothers Racing out in Port Lambton. They extended the invite to us to come out and shoot some video, and we jumped at the chance. Couple quick things. This is not our normal style video, but I like doing it. It was interesting. It is not an interview video either. It is just guys in the shop talking is what it is, and talking about racing and the history of racing and what they did to get started. I'm going to give you an initial impression. So there's the dad, Vic O'Leary, Tate O'Leary, and Caleb O'Leary. These three guys are humble, very humble. You're going to hear in this video a shout out to no less than 25 people, racers, former racers, that helped them get where they are. And we had a great time talking with genuinely good people. So I hope you enjoy this video. Hit the subscribe button at the end of this if you like it. It's a pretty good race at the end. And a couple funny parts in the middle. Throughout the video.
I put it on all the cars, just pictures of our mom and great grandpas, and just like a nice little memorial thing.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we put that on every car we run pretty much. So
Just a cool way to pay tribute, because we used to do the logo in the center there. We used to do on the hood of all the cars, and even something like that. And that's where we talked to Mark over at Magnum there a few years ago about it. And that's just kind of, next thing you know, we had that, and it's kind of been on every single car we've had. But it's a really cool way just to pay tribute to her mom, because I'm not sure if Tate said, but with the 28, I always run the 28, he runs the 28K, and I'm not sure if it's ever said, but we run the 28 because her mom's birthday is December 28th.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we got the 28, and then also her favorite driver was Ernie Irvin. So that's where kind of a mix of that, and then the K, that's where I was just 28, and then when Tate started driving there, that's when we just threw a K on his for Krista, and then that was my mom's name, and then that's just been ever since. And we've talked a little bit here and there, like Tate was talking about running a few different, the number 11 for the dome in memory of Brad Bloomfield, but that's where, because of the rules with the dome, he already registered as 28. Yeah. So the 11, he couldn't run it, but that's where he's still working on something there in memory of Brad. But
put all the Christmas balls all over the car. It's we were gonna put paw prints on it for because I normally like dogs and fostered them all. So then we kind of laid them on there, and it didn't really go together with the Christmas kind of theme of it. So we ended up having to switch her up and put some Christmas bulbs on it.
We have two Fosters at home.
Yeah. Yeah, we had, how many was it?
we went through probably 6. What breeds do you have?
German Shepherd.
Okay. We had a German Shepherd years ago. We've been through a good amount of breeds. He's got a nutrient quarter up there. He went to Bristol there a few years ago, and Jonathan Davenport was driving there. Yeah. And they just kind of, what the heck, went over and talked to him. Well, then he ended up wrecking her in hot laps. So they went, and next thing you know, they were underneath the car helping him, hanging a new body and everything on it. And they just kind of pitted for him there, helping him out. And by the end of the race, that's where they walked out of there with a free quarter panel from him.
Nice.
So that's pretty dang cool. And the number, I don't know where you got that one from, but then the number 6.
We got that from Bristol too. That was right before he won the world championship.
Okay.
He was just starting out, so they had a pile after heat race, B main of just parts. We got the spoiler there from it too, and then so we grabbed that and then he won the world championship that year, so that's kind of cool. And then number 6 there, me and Dad went down for a little road trip to where was that? Gaffney? No.
No, you went to South Carolina.
Yeah, I went to South Carolina to pick up a new boat, or look at a boat. Florida, yeah. And then we got there and the boat was not what the guy says it was. So then on the way home, we heard that there was racing at Cherokee on the way home. So we were like, oh, well, we're only 10 minutes away. So we pulled in there. Then we ended up hooking up with Dylan and Jacob Brown. They're big crate racers in the Carolinas there. So we just kind of talked to their grandparents. They're really nice people. So one thing led to another. Then we're just stayed in contact with them, and it's been 5 or 6 years now, and we still talk once in a while. We actually went down to Bristol and watched him. Me and my girlfriend went down there and watched 2 years ago now, and just good people.
The dirt race?
Yeah, the Bristol Dirt Nationals or whatever they called it. Me and Dad went down to the Dome last year and talked with Tyler Carpenter there and talking to him, and he was kind of just showing us some stuff here and there, right? And then he said, well, since you guys came all this way, we'll give you something to bring home with you. So we gave me that and signed it. And then that's who I talked to this year when I got the email saying that you're on the list or whatever. I sent him the message as soon as I got it. It says, does this mean I'm in? And then he always said was, oh boy, we'll have to see you soon. And then we've just been kind of joking back and forth. But he's a nice guy and lots of experience in that place. So
how many cars are going to the Dome?
There's 158 or some odd late models going. There's 75 a night for the prelim nights, and then I want to say there's 60 or 80 mods that are going.
So they'll be racing till 2, 3 in the morning.
No, it wasn't too bad actually. No? Last time, last year we were there. It was a lot of racing. It was back after back.
We that year we split the car because I started working for Tim Hortons camps that year up in Brantford area. So we went there as kids after our mom passed away, and I always wanted to give back. So I went up there for the summer and worked there. So when I couldn't come home to race, Tate would jump in the car and drive it, and we kind of split it that year. I think we were top 3 in points.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of my favorite ones. I don't know, the pink, it just kind of pops in with the blue, and it just looks pretty nice all together. But
easy to read.
Very much so. And then, but this car too, this one turned out pretty cool this year with the modified just to match the cars. And especially there's mean behind it. There's a picture on the other side there I cleaned off. It's we kind of did a tribute to our grandpa in a way with it.
Oh, okay.
There was back.
No, we're good. We're good.
Moved over. Yeah, 1985. So our grandpa, that's where he passed away 2012, the same year as our mother. And so that's where just a little tribute wanted to do to him, because back in '85 he would help out the neighbor down the road, Randy Bayshard, warrior.
The weekend winged warrior.
And then that's where with the wing on there. So that's where we kind of found that picture online. Alan Arsenal does those photos he'll post. So that came up, and we're like, you know what? Like Grandpa used to go down there and help out and hang out with the guy. And Dad actually was his first car he ever drove in, because they did junior fan night, so he won the draw, and so he picked that car to drive in. So that was like his first ever race car to go in. So that's kind of a cool tribute to Dad and Grandpa and everyone. And so we had Randy come out at the beginning of the year and check out the cars and got some pictures with them, and just a cool little thing. And the car looks pretty clean. And that one's better. Yeah, the one behind you there, I've rolled that one once or twice, so it doesn't look as good anymore.
That one came off the Delaware car. That one came off the Delaware car one. That car is actually at Jamie Grover's place. He's putting a new clip and getting it ready for next year. He's gonna build it for the V8 class, the time class, and then me and him are gonna take turns driving it.
I watched that a couple times, and it took me. I didn't understand it at first because I didn't want there was no knowledge of what it is. And then I'm seeing these guys stopping on the backstretch, and I'm like, and then I hear the announcer talk about the timed out, so he got stopped.
So we're gonna take turns in that, and then there's gonna be a couple drivers that nobody really knows about right now. That's gonna that everybody knows very well. Let's just say that.
That's all right.
Everybody knows, but nobody knows they're going.
Perfect.
Yeah. little surprise coming.
That's good. That's good. I want to say,
Yeah, so this is just a Delaware spec motor from Todd Wallman, actually. He built it for his Delaware truck.
Okay.
And then he sold the truck, so he didn't need the motor anymore, but still had the motor. So then he moved to Wallaceburg, actually. And then we seen it posted online. And we were using Dad's old motor from Delaware, which he had probably 10, 15 years ago. No, how long ago did you build that motor?
What's that?
The Delaware one.
Wallman?
No, yours.
Oh, mine? That was 1995.
He had the motor in 1995. They're running it, and then we had it in this actually my first year, and then it sadly ended its life inside this car. So, and yeah, so now they blame me for ending the Old Faithfuls.
So, question.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about a sprint car.
Yeah.
Is there a cover go on that?
Yeah, so we this is the drive shaft here actually.
Looks like an axle.
Yeah, it slides inside there with that spring.
Okay.
And then it has this torque. We had all the parts, took them off for the winter, but yeah, then it just slides right into the back of the rear end there. We took it all apart because a good, well, when we were racing the crate race, right, at Buxton, the crate race, they let me run this with them just because it's pretty much a crate motor, like it's a spec motor, right?
Yeah.
So we were there and I set this thing all up off YouTube. So it wasn't, I was doing stuff I should not have been doing. So Ryan Turner actually, I asked him a couple questions at the track and he goes, well, what do you got for shocks? And I said, well, I don't really know. All my parts are in this box. He goes, oh, okay, well, let me grab my tools and I'll come over and give you a hand. So he set the thing up and I had nowhere close to where it should have been.
Oh, yeah.
So I went out in the heat race and it was a lot better. So then he was working with Brian Nanico and he told me to go put 2 turns on the left side, on the left front. So I came over, I went to the left side and I put 2 turns on the torsion bar. But on these things you got to put 2 turns on the right side to go to the left side.
Oh, it's opposite.
So I put 2 turns on the right side and I went out and it looked like it was jumping all over the place, and he goes, what did you do? I said, well, I put 2 turns on the left side. He goes, no, you gotta put 2 turns on the right side to make the left side have 2 turns. I said, well,
how you supposed to know
yeah.
that, right?
So he goes, yeah, I know you're not a sprint car racer. I said, no, we're just having fun with it. So I bought this car from DJ Christie, 3 years now, I think. My first time ever in the car. We had one of these radius rods break going into the corner, and it actually ripped the clip off here and here. Like it ripped everything here and bent everything. So during my co-op, actually, we straightened it all and put a new front clip on it. And now we can still run it. But yeah, so he's gonna come out this winter and go over it all. And
these are fun to watch.
yeah,
They're a handful to drive.
You know, I'm sure when you get going with the big guys, they'd be a little more handful, but I have probably the most amount of fun driving this thing with the least amount of money in it. Like,
What would you say you like better, Tate? The wing or the wingless? You've run both on the same night.
Yeah,
the same car. That's a lot of racing when he did that.
Yeah, I remember when they went and took the wings off them.
Yeah, so we did the non-wing class with the Ontario topless.
Traditional sprints.
Yeah, at Buxton we did every race with them this year actually, and we did every winged race. So we would put the wings on it, run theirs, take the wings off, run the non-wing show. But then we'd also be in the modified.
Yeah.
Once we were in the late model. So personally, they're just putting the wing on makes it such a huge difference. Like,
as in traction wise?
yeah,
or?
like even drive, like the non-wing one, you just go in the corner and you just drive in and it comes out. But the wing one, the car's just moving all over the place. Like, then you can feel somebody right in front of you. The whole car's like shaking. It's like, and my first ever start was 2 weeks after I bought this car was with the Knights of Thunder at South Buxton when Henry owned it 3 years ago.
It was 4 years.
4 years ago. Yeah, and so I started at the back, and then I went to hit the gas, and just the feeling of it, like you're just everything was like tenses up. You're like, well, I'm doing this, like, and so then actually Dad put the slow moving vehicle sign on it, just because like you can't really see much when it gets dusty, right? So now everybody's like, oh, you gotta take the sign off, like you're not going as slow anymore. It's like, well, no, it's just kind of funny to leave it. So they're super fun. But so I got 2 more chassis in the trailer, and so we're waiting to see what happens for next year. Yeah, we're not committing to anything.
Yeah.
But we're not saying we're not gonna do anything.
Caleb
That
would
makes
like to
sense.
try it as well, so.
So
They look like a barrel of fun.
they're even just the starting it is
Yeah.
like you have no room. Your legs don't normally bend the way they have to bend.
Yeah, you look like you're sitting completely upright.
Yeah, you're sitting like, oh, I can get in there.
This is what the spectators don't see is how tight it
How
is.
tight it is inside these things. They're in a whole lot of room, especially when you get all the shields in here. Like you sit down, that's all you got. You don't.
Your head's tethered.
Yeah,
your
we
helmet's
wear
tethered.
the Hans devices, and once you're strapped in this thing, that's all. You just shake with the car. It's a crazy friggin'.
So you got a brake and a gas.
Yeah, this is the brake, and then the gas is. Yeah.
I'll give you $1,000 if you can get it now.
Yeah, my ass can't get
If you
in
can
there.
physically get in there.
I'm
You can get in.
claustrophobic.
I don't like the tight spots or nothing, but this is fun.
Well, I don't know. It's fun, but
I think once you get going and you're like going, you probably wouldn't notice.
Yeah, and they're just so. It takes so much out of you driving this thing. Like,
yeah.
when I would race this and go back to that or the mod, those are like drive in the corner, drive out of the corner. These are like you're always moving.
working.
It's all
You're
it's
working.
different because now you're pulling, right?
Yeah.
But them ones like you're just driving.
Hey, you watch the front wheels when they're going around the corner. They're always doing
They're-
this, right?
yeah.
Or they're not even going at the same pace.
No, like
Right?
this, like because we only run the brakes on the left front, and then it's in on more of the left side of the center of the rear end, so it doesn't stop every tire the same, right?
So is that to get it to turn?
Yeah, and yeah.
So when you go in the corner, are you hitting the brakes to get it to turn, or you just gas and go?
In this thing, I personally don't.
If he wrecks, I'm gonna leave it in the video.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I personally don't, but I'm not also. I got 350 horse in this thing, right? So I'm sure the more power you get, the harder you gotta do it. But I'm just having fun with it. Like personally, it keeps me out of trouble for what most people say,
Yeah.
and I still get in trouble.
You still get it.
Yeah, I still get in trouble.
These are the ones that get a push to go.
Yeah.
Like he said, I really didn't want to get into drilling camshafts, and like that fuel pump itself is like $900, right? So I was like, I want to keep it as cheap and as affordable as I can, but still have fun with it, right? So I jimmied a fuel pump just off like a mechanical fuel pump that you'd run on any other car. I put it in, and then had to make this spacer off the back. It's just to space out the different crankshaft because it's a stock crank. So just doing that now allows me to change motors to anything I really want that will fit, because I'm back to mechanical fuel pump, no cam spuds or nothing. And then the whole rad, I don't know if you know, but the other sprint cars, they'll have 4 fittings that come out of the intake.
Okay.
They'll have 2 up front and then 2 on the back here. But I was like, well, 2 hoses, 1 in top, 1 in the bottom is easier. So I went on Amazon and I found this. And it's out of a Komatsu excavator. and it's about 3 inches too short. So I put a piece of 2x4 in there, and now she'll slide in and slide out. And it was like quarter the price is what they
I was
wanted
gonna say,
for
it
another
saved
one.
you a ton.
Like it was $200 and it's brand new delivered to my house.
Does it stay cool with that?
Yeah, this year I didn't drill any holes. I had to plug these holes here off actually. Then just to get it to 180 degrees, like it. We're on methanol with this. Well, everything that I run's all on methanol now, but it stayed cool, ran good, ran all year. And then then they usually run the power steering pumps and everything off that same pump.
Yeah.
And then that would go up to their wing slider under for the top wing. But again, being cheap, right? I was like, well, do I need it for the 2-3 times I'm gonna run the wing? So I put this normal power steering pump, run on the mod, late mod, everything, and then just plumbed it right in the steering rack. And then for the slider, I just put 2 radius rods together and
There you go.
found a fixed position and bolted her up. So when I was talking to some like them bigger guys like Sean Evans and like the Aaron Turkey and all them guys, they look at me like, what's this guy doing? But I was out of Oswego for the Thunderstops when they were all there from Buxton, and I was walking to the pits, and that was right after Dad ran through the infield with his no shirt on after Caleb won.
Yep.
And they were like, "Oh, you're the kid's son that ran through the friggin' infield." I was like, "Yeah, that's my father." So, like the atmosphere of the sprint car racing around here there's very helpful with getting going. Like they're not all cutthroat like you would think they would be, but
Yeah.
when you get to their position, like you start running tight with them, they'll probably
Be a little more
lay
tight.
off the
Yeah.
little help. But like now, like I went to Oswego and they brought me, Nanico brought me like 6 right rear tires, some left rear tires. He just says, I just want to see more cars out there. Like,
Yeah. And that's what it's all about,
that's
right?
yeah, and like a couple, like Josh Rice has been helping me a lot on this car. He goes, we'll help anybody that asks, but if you start telling us stuff or you don't listen to us, we're not going to help you, right?
Why give the advice if you're not going to follow it? And if you don't
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
and you still don't take the advice,
Yeah, no, like even like some people around here, like Mike Lewis, like he's been helping me so much. Like he's built bodies this year. He built motor for this car, the late motor on the dome with. He's just a really good guy. So, and then like even Kurt Hooker, he's helped us through the years.
but if you don't have guys like that, then
No.
then the younger class is
How
not
do
going to
we
come in,
learn,
right?
Like you can only look up stuff online so
Yeah.
much.
You can watch videos, but you only get so much out of a video,
Exactly.
right?
And what worked for them, they don't know this track at home, right? So
Yeah.
having the experience of them guys, like, well, even when I first got into the lit modifieds, Mario Torniola, he came out with me to look at my first car, and then he's helping me right from the get-go. He built 1 motor for me, or 2 motors for me actually. So there's just a lot of good supportive people out.
Well, that's good. That's what all the younger generation needs, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Joy?
I remember that.
Yeah, that was 19.
Especially when you get like all of the panels.
That was 95, I think, that year. Or, no, that was 94, I think. And then I went NASCAR cast car truck racing in Delaware.
Yeah.
That picture was in 98, the year I married the boy's mom. Looked pretty young and skinny there, but that truck was fast. We won some features with it, and we won a ton of heat races. Then I had kids, and my racing got put on hold, and I tried to get back in a few times. The boys tell you the story about picking the car up in Madison, West Virginia. If you look up there, there's the toter home, and there's the 00 car. That is the car that Tate's driving now. It's a Buzzard. He picked that car up off Facebook Marketplace last year. Ended up going down to Madison to pick the car up. We brought our motor out of the car. It was about a year ago. It was middle of November. We brought the motor down with us. We put the motor in the car in the Walmart parking lot, tested it, and then went to the track the next day and raced it on the way home. So that was a pretty cool experience. And oh, sorry, that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. It wasn't last year.
That's what it's all about. You make a memory like that, right?
Yeah, there's Greg, Bubba.
That's actually that Thunderstock out back.
Oh,
Right here.
okay.
Me and Kiel both ran Thunderstocks once for a couple races that year. It was yeah, we went to Eugene's place and got one of his old modified wraps and put it on the Camaro. Yeah, right there's a good picture of it.
Everybody seems to be running Camaros nowadays.
Yeah, they seem like 2 years ago, well, more than that, but a while ago, like nobody would run them.
Nope.
And now
They had the Camaro front clip.
yeah,
But that was it.
yeah, there's Caleb back in his young stallion days right there. Yeah, there's a couple good. There's some good pictures of me and Kale there. We were little then. Yeah, I think you got all the.
Another one there. This is when they had the Tate's first year in late model. That was Brad Simpson that helped him get going on it. You were 14 then, I think. That's Ron. That's
Grandpa
the guy
Ron.
that gives him a hard time all the time. His hat on crooked there, but
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah. So
Good times.
and this is Mike Legui. He's helped us out a lot over the years for building engines for the Mini and
I was going to say, I see his name on the cars.
yeah, he helps us out a lot. So without his help, he actually built a lot. He's built a lot of our
Those
motors as
shocks
well,
from
but-
that car on my car right now, actually.
Yeah, that's Brad Bloomfield's car right there in the background.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's Mike Legui's helped us out a ton.
Why he's taking the hood off?
Very cool.
She gets a little fumey in here.
It's a good smell.
$10 bill there. It's the after championship night in the modifieds. Chase Smith there. Well, I told him I think I'm done racing the mod this year. I gotta get the late model out. At that point, nobody really knew about the whole we're going to the dome situation. So he goes, "No, it's not." And I said, "Yeah, I think I'm just gonna run the late model for a couple of weeks this year." He goes, "That's a lot of work to just for a couple of races. Like we can put motors in, motors out, and at night and have it running, so it's not a huge deal." But so then when we brought it out, I sent him a picture Sunday morning. The motor is out of the modified, and then he goes, "Oh, well, I guess you're done racing that, eh?" I said, "Yeah, so I sent him a picture of it in the late model." He goes, "Well, I guess I lost the bet in that one." So we went to the drivers' meeting, and then I came back, and it was taped there, so I just kind of left it.
I tell you, when I drove the car for the shootout, I was so tempted to take it.
$10 is $10.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
Right.
says he's my biggest dome sponsor this year.
10
So I
bucks
left
is
it
10
on there. I said, hey, $10 is $10. But he goes, it ain't $10. You're just gonna keep it on your car.
I want to take it off before you get up to speed.
Yeah.
Probably rip it through her face there.
Did you tell, Phil, did you tell him about getting to run the?
Not yet, no.
Good. Keep it that way.
Look at this stuff.
Yeah, Keel, what was it, last year? You said, well, I kind of want to drive the modified. I said, okay, so I never really told him what was going to go on, but when I went to Oswego, I said, I'm just going to bring the backup car just in case something happens. And I said, well, Keel, do you want to tell me you can drive the other car? He goes, oh, sweet. So then I was against the Kenny Schrader deal there 3 years ago. And then he ended up having a fuel pump issue and just wasn't a very good night for him. So
Yeah.
we were going to Buxton the next night, and I said, well, you can run it there just because you haven't really got a shot at it. And then he raced it 2 or 3 times after that. And then I went down to Fairbury with a buddy from Illinois, Chase, Oscar House. And
You're saying it.
yeah. So this car was at home, and Kid was, well, you're not home, can I drive it? And I was the shootout night. I was like, well, first night in the car shootout, I said, what could really go wrong, right? So the whole time I was just, nope, they weren't sending me updates on it, nothing. I said, well, there's a 50-50 chance the car's gonna drive in a trailer, or we have to go back next week with a flatbed, pick it up.
Oh boy.
But it's still here, so
Yeah.
he's
It all kind of starts, the story's longer than that. Probably 2018. Or no, 2018. And it was shootout or mechanics night. And so that's where he was racing this car, and we were teasing about it. I'm like, well, let me drive for mechanics racing. He said, all right, why not? And at the time we had a trailer just like the one we have now, but just a different one, a little older. And so with the back gate, you have to pull it to let it down. I go and I pull it, and it comes down with the winch broke, which lowers it. And so it came down, I tried to run, it fell on me, so it pinned me underneath of it. Little old tape came along, helped me get in from underneath, and I had to go to the hospital to get checked out. And I bruised my tendons, my bones, everything in it.
Back in the trailer.
And so yeah, that's when the car never got raced that night, and so there went my night of racing the late model, and then so that's where, and then after that really, like 2019, I went to some Hortons camps, so I wasn't rode around a lot, and then with COVID and everything, just the car went away with the Modify coming in and never came out again. And so that's where when he brought this back out, we were joking around about it, and he finally gave me the approval. I'm like, well, it's gonna be interesting. He had Riom go out there and all them
Yeah.
big guys like Spangler and Spandercock, and I was like, this
That was
is
a good
gonna be
race.
quite the
That was a
night.
good race.
Yeah, and that's where it was. I thought it was pretty funny because a lot of people I looked up to, I was talking to after. I'm like, hey, did I look okay? They're like, we honestly thought you were Tate, so that made me feel pretty good about everything. But it was awesome. Like that's what I've always wanted to do it, and I thank him a lot for letting me able to do it. And the first night we teased Dad about it. He's the best. Like he's the reason we're really doing this, and he got us into it. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. But we teased him because we thought we put enough fuel in it, and the first night I ran out of fuel.
Then
So I
they called me
her,
when I was in Fairbury. They go, "Where's the fuel?" I said, "At the shop. Like I'm not even in the country. What am I gonna
Yeah.
do for you?"
And you got a long poke to get to the track from here.
Yeah, it's
we're
an
gonna
hour.
drive. So
Hour and a
that's
little
where-
bit,
So
so-
I called Mikey Dale, and he wasn't racing. So I was like, well, perfect. We'll come get it. So got in, put the fuel in it, and I ended up finishing 14th that night in the shootout of 19th. So I was like, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I was last on the lead lap, but still, that was pretty fun to
Did
get
you have
in
a good
there and
time?
have some fun. And, well, I'd
Exactly.
never done the thing before. That's why I went out and did my first laps in qualifying. So I was like, this is
Oh.
going to be quite the night. So I had a fun time. But the mini mod's a pretty fun class to run at, so I've had fun at it. And getting my first win this year was pretty awesome. We've been searching for our first feature in the bigger cars for a few years now. So that's where I think Dad's excitement alone just showed everyone how much it meant
Oh,
to
yeah.
us, because I know that went a little viral around the area of him going
That's so
shirtless,
good.
and we were
Well,
teasing him about it.
What
but
I
it
what
was
I
awesome.
didn't know was that those are as fast as the Thunderstruck.
Yeah, and I
They
know,
have their nights, yeah. Like on the dry tracks, like the lower power tire, like it just. There's some nights are faster than modifieds too. It just depends on the night. Like,
I had no idea until Steve Shaw raced. And it was like,
Well, it all depends on the track condition too,
And
like
the
different
cars,
tracks and
yeah, and who was driving the car.
exactly. Like
But still,
there's a lot of variables to it, but that some cars will definitely be different cars that are depending on the night. But, the modifieds are pretty cool class too. So I don't think I'll ever get one of those. He's teased me about getting into one of his spare ones, but I can't even fit in that one as it is right now. So I don't know if I'll be in one of those, but we'll see if he lets me get into the late model modified again one day.
Kankakee. So I drove down from here. It's about 6.5 hours roughly, and then we did Fairbury and Kankakee race there against like little Chase Holland guy. Like all these big guys are there. It's like, oh, this is awesome. So then we end up parking beside JD Lester, and we kind of stayed in contact a little bit. And then he goes, oh well, I was saying to my daughter's logo. She does hair down, and they're from like. Past Illinois way. I was like, oh sweet. So he's kind of like, well, we raced with him, and now he's sponsoring me to help me get to some of these bigger races. And then we're talking about some bigger plans this year with me and him for the modified race and stuff. So there's always plans coming out of here. Just wondering where we go and what car do we bring with us.
sometimes secrets are best, though.
Yeah, it's and I know some people are telling me, oh, well, you should just do one thing, sick.
Yeah.
But if I don't know, I have more fun just, well, me and Kev are out here every night, and Dad, well, even, we steal Jay from Tiff all the time, have to come help me with more of the technical stuff.
You're not running the streets causing problems.
No, we,
This is going back a few years. There's their first year in Bombers in 2014. Checker flag night. Tate's car. Kurt Hooker was running for mayor or for councilor, so he had vote for Kurt Hooker on the car, and that's when the K car was fresh. Caleb won best looking car. That was his opening night with it, and then we built him that car as an automatic. A couple pictures of the K car. There's
that's me and Caleb there after I just won. He stopped and we got our pictures together actually.
Well, you gotta tell the whole story about that day. So that night was the first night that he won a feature. And so I was in the blue bomber that night. I rolled it. But then it took so long to clean everything up. When you roll, you have to go to the ambulance for 10 minutes. So I went to the ambulance for 10 minutes. They towed the car off, and Dad said park right by the ambulance. Went and sat there for 10 minutes, and sure enough, not calling him out for it, but Jordan Van Hall helped me out that night because he wrecked. So they had to fix him up before they could get going. So they didn't do a lap yet. So by the time 10 minutes is up, they said, all right, you're good. So I got the helmet on. I jumped in the car, drove back out, went back out, and was on the lead lap and finished third when he won it.
I did not want that caution.
There's a picture back in the day when I had no gray hair before racing started.
Oh, I gotcha.
Now she's
It's not racing, it's working with your son.
and there's a couple action pictures. Car digging in a little hard. That's sweet. Some
That's
good
me
pictures of
taking
them
out
together. And then getting lifted from the back.
In the back tail.
They were pretty young back then.
And the memories are what's important there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what it's about right there. Started off there. Gosh, that's a good story that night. This night, I remember specifically, I was running my K car. I'd just leave it at the track. Caleb was driving this gold Malibu we bought off the Hopes. Stickered it up, 17 cans of gold spray bomb to make her make her shine. I remember this night specifically. Caitlin Haskell and Caleb got into it. Caleb rolled literally right over top of Caitlin, and I was right there to see it. I pulled up beside him. He gave me thumbs up. Car fell back down, and I believe he carried on that night. But
Yeah, we've got some cool ones up there that are trophies and everything hanging around. Some cool spark plug trophies. We got a couple of top 3, top 5 in points, a couple of feature trophies.
so we can put 3 cars in here. We got to finish loading it tonight, but we we put 3 in here, 2 up top, 1 on the bottom, and then the Kubota fits in the center. So
Okay.
it's a pretty badass trailer.
Nice.
We'll have and then actually, yeah, the motor, spare motor and everything sitting in here already.
Okay.
Yeah, under there. Yeah, it's a pretty neat little setup.
Spare nose ready to go.
Yeah, we got the whole bodies up there.
Yeah.
That's good. That's cool. Never seen inside one of these before. Well, there you have it. You can very easily gather from that they are some very humble people. They continually throughout the night gave credit to everyone else at the track. I told you there's no less than 25 names being dropped that have helped these folks. And now they're heading down to the Dome. Well, by the time you watch this, they're at the Dome. Going to do a little bit of racing indoors. But we wish them the best. I appreciate you all having me out there. It was a good time. My son Nate was with me and he had a good time. And we'll see you all at the track, if not before then. Later.